first off the bat tonight. It's a pleasure to be here again, my third time. Anyway, let me start. When I was, in 1962, I was 15 years old. And being 15, I was in school yet, and I dressed real nice for school. See, at that point, the hippie generation hasn't started yet, and me personally, I like to dress nice for school. Some people came in jeans or whatever, but I didn't. So one day, my mother comes to me and says, "John, I cannot keep sending these clothes to the cleaners and pay your cleaning bill every week. You're going to have to change. Either you're going to wear different clothes or you're going to have to pay for your cleaning bill." Well, the 15-year-old bright kid, I turned to her and said, "I'll get a job, I'll pay." Well, she looked at me and laughed. "You're going to get a job, yeah, you're going to get a job." Well, with that made me all the more want to get a job. So I went into our small town, Pottstown. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but back then there were stores lining both sides of the streets. That's before the big malls came in the area and took all the people away from the stores. So I walked one end of the street, up one end and down the other, kept getting no's. Well, I thought to myself, I got something here. The more no's I get, the chances are one of those no's is going to be a yes. Well, I kept on going. I almost ran out of stores. The last store I was going to go into was Canning's drugstore. Well, I went in, marched up to the counter. I said, "Could I speak to Mr. Canning, please?" "Yes, just a minute." Well, Mr. Webster Canning came down and talked to me and said, "Oh, Mr. Canning, I'm looking for a job. Is there anything in your drugstore that I can do?" He said, "Well, there is one thing you can do. I have an opening at the soda fountain. Would you like to do that?" Oh, I was thrilled. But I think he thought I was older than I was because I looked like I was about 17 when I was 15. That's what my birth certificate said. Anyway, he hired me. And that was good. There were a few problems. Well, he wanted me to work a couple days during the week, after school, all day Saturday, either days or evenings, and half a day on Sunday, every other Sunday. But again, there were a few problems that came along with this. You see, I was still in school. I didn't have a driver's license. So the school bus would drop me off about 2 miles away from this store, and I had to walk that 2 miles. And it wasn't bad, but as it got hot and humid, it got bad. Anyway, I'd go to work. My father would pick me up after work. It was fine. And then in the summer, I had to ride my bicycle, which was about 5 miles away from the store. So I'd ride there, and he'd pick me up at night and my bicycle and take me home. Well, as I said, I worked in a soda fountain. We had a bar, counter I should say, and about 4 tables. And there were all kinds of people coming into that store. A lot of people I could tell you all about, but that's for another day. This day is about my brush with success. Well, about 2 blocks from us was a boys' private school. It was very, it was very high up there. People thought they were something when they went there. They thought they were very important. Well, anyway, they get Wednesday afternoons off, and they'd come down, and they'd have sodas and whatever, hot dogs and milkshakes and sundaes, but most of them came down and had a Coke and sat there for about an hour and sipped the Coke. Well, Webster stood in the back, and he watched these kids, and he wasn't very happy because they took up seats for paying customers. Anyway, and they also were thieves. You have to watch, they make sure they didn't take anything from the store. Anyway, but there were some important people that were in those classes when I was a soda jerk at Canning's drugstore. One of them was Oliver Stone. He went to school during that time. I could have met him. I don't know. but the other one was Jim Baker. Does anyone know who Jim Baker is? Okay. Well, he went to school at that time too. I could have seen him, I don't know. But anyway, one day, this little short man comes walking into the drugstore. And Bambi, the girl that was working with me, she was a college student and she was working part-time with me. And she said, John, I said, Bambi, who is that? I said, that looks like Mickey Rooney. And she said, yeah, it does. He said, why don't you go up and ask him? Well, I mustered up all the courage I had as a 15-year-old boy. I marched over there and said, could I help you? What would you like? He said, I'd like a coffee. I said, okay, fine, I'll get you coffee. Well, make a long story short, it turned out to be Mickey Rooney. And I asked him what he was doing there. He said he was going to Philadelphia, but he was going to stop and see someone at the high school, at the Hill School, and he wanted to stop by and get a cup of coffee because it was really early. So that was my brush with fame, Mickey Rooney. Thank you. I need to talk to you then when this is over. Okay?